But with no further ado, we're going to start off with a damn good episode of television. I fucking loved it.
Oh, which
I'm
one are we
talking about
about?
Mandalorian,
Oh,
baby.
Mandalorian. There we go. Okay.
Episode 2, baby. Bo-Katan Kryze. It's going down, played by the great Katie Sackhoff in live action and animation format for those of y'all that don't know. And for those of you that do know, y'all know what's up with that, man. And just getting into our overall thoughts on this one first before we get into the recap portion of the episode where we break down all the nitty-gritty details. Let me know what you thought about this episode, my man. What'd you think about this one overall?
I thought it was another great episode. I thought it was interesting to see like Mandalore for the first time. I mean, shit, dude.
Yes.
That was kind of a huge moment because like this is the first time we've seen live action, and it's cool to see what happened after the whole tragic events from the past, and it's how the big purge, the dark times for them pretty much, and seeing like if is life really could life really be there, and can the Mandalorians go back to that planet and kind of like redo their tradition and everything. So it was very cool. I liked it a lot. I like seeing Mando doing his thing. He pulls out the dark saber throughout this episode a little bit, kind of struggling a bit as well, but he's not on that same level of Bo-Katan. He still has to do that training, kind of get used to wielding it and everything. So
Yeah, 'cause she a boss with that thing, man.
Oh,
She had
yeah.
years with that thing.
Dude, she fucking killed. I thought when honestly when Mando was gonna get it back, I thought she was gonna say something. It's like, hey, you don't know how to wield that thing. Give me that damn thing back. I thought it was gonna be something like that, but she was pretty awesome too in this episode. Mando is like very very like stubborn. He wants to like believe so hardcore into to his traditions of the Mandalorian, is trying to keep it 100% to be able to be redeemed for his so-called sins in the past, if you would say. And it's cool to see that dedication of a character willing to do that, to go that far amount and within the dangers that we've seen in this episode. And we also see Baby Yoda, Grogu, actually stepping up. He's actually doing his thing when shit hit the fan. He was able to get some help at least.
Most definitely.
And got some homies, came back and fucked shit up. So I really did enjoy it. The ending, of course, I don't want to go too far into it with the reveal of the ending with what we've seen underwater, but it was awesome to see something that going along.
We're gonna get there, boy.
And
y'all know I'm diehard Star Wars fans here, so we're gonna get into all that nerdy goodness. Don't you go nowhere. Don't touch that dial, y'all.
and it was just
shit.
it was great. I can't wait. I just wish the episodes were longer. That's all I'm gonna leave it on. I just wish that was it.
That's like one of my only complaints with this episode. I got like 2 complaints, and they're very, very, very minor. Because this was the Mandalorian. Now, don't get me wrong. Last episode, good solid setup for what's to come, and it almost feels like a good 2-parter. Like it could have almost been like its own little short film or own contained movie or something. But between this episode and the last one, but this episode kicked a lot of ass. I enjoyed this one quite a bit more than the last episode. This one to me is just had everything about the Mandalorian that makes it great. It had the Mandalorian culture, check. It had the fantastic action scenes, check. It had the great character building through the dialogue and scenes, and Bo-Katan going through the history of Mandalore, seeing Grogu step up and do things on his own and actually get that character development in the sense of him having to do things and overcome fears and actually use his force capabilities and see the training that he's actually acquired over these several years that he did with Luke for a good couple years. I love seeing the training in action. And they addressed one of my only issues that I thought might have persisted in this episode, maybe if they weren't handling it correctly. I thought maybe in this season, maybe they would make Grogu a little too cutesy. Maybe they would make it a little too kid-friendly in that regard, where Grogu's not really stepping up, kind of contributing to the journey, kind of being able to hold his own a little bit more.
Kind of being like a mascot, pretty much.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And always having to get rescued, like it's Pan in Dragon Ball GT. You know what I'm saying? That's the vibe
definitely.
that I was feeling a little bit in episode 1, that I was like, okay, I hope this isn't a thing that we're going to have an issue with this season, because they did such a great job before not making that an issue where it made sense where he couldn't do things. Now, force training back in full effect. He had years of it before. Couple years with Luke, I was like, okay, he needs to be able to kind of step up and do things on his own a little bit. I don't need him to fight Moff Gideon, but let's at least have him do his own thing. And I like that they did that. He went back and got Bo-Katan. That to me was awesome. And seeing like Mando teach him lessons about how to navigate the galaxy and all these different things of him really parenting now, I think is really fucking dope to see. And I love the parallel of Pedro Pascal being in this and The Last of Us. And you're getting to see him. It's weird. It's like this season and season 1 of that. It's like very much the same thing. Like traveling, getting him somewhere safely. The kid can't hold their own, and then him teaching him things and giving him life lessons along the way. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really cool getting to see Mandalorian. Getting to see Din Djarin as a full-fledged really character and as a father really now in season 3, and getting to see that side of that character is really fun to see. But he's still a badass, willing to kill you at any time and willing to take out whoever he's got to do and do what's necessary. And like you mentioned, with the creature at the end, we're gonna get into all that Star Wars fucking juicy ass lore right there. I love the way that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau can just pay off this stuff that all us Star Wars fans have been wanting to see for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, depending on the age of you watching right now. You know, so I love the way that they're able to bring Mandalorian culture, Star Wars lore into the show. It's not distracting for those that don't know all that stuff, and it's just a fantastic episode of television. Bo-Katan Kryze, played by Katie Sackhoff. She was born to be this character. She is doing a phenomenal job, and at times I'm more compelled by her right now in the show than even Din Djarin. So that goes to say a lot. Because Din Djarin's become one of my new favorite characters in Star Wars, along with Grogu. I'm really loving those two characters, and I love that Grogu's really stepping up, took out the freaking woolly mammoth-looking motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So I love it. It's what you want out of those kind of sidekick characters. So yeah, I'm loving that. I love what they're doing in this episode. And other than one of the elements of it being a little bit repetitive, I would say it was a fucking fantastic episode, man. Fantastic episode. Just make it a little bit longer, and I think it got a little bit repetitive in certain aspects we'll get into in the recap portion. But I love the episode.
Right on, on. Do you like this a little bit more than the previous episode, or
yes,
is this,
for sure.
For sure for this? Okay. I'm the same boat.
Yeah, like this was definitely the Mandalorian vibe that was perfect to me. Adventure of the week, culture, action, compelling stuff. Because the last one just felt a little bit too, almost too, I don't know. It just felt I just feel like we'd been gone for 2 years. We're building up to the new season. We got this new thing with him needing to redeem himself and all that stuff. And I felt like after that, you kind of got into this little light adventure of the week sort of vibe. And I was like, for the beginning of the show, I kind of would like a little more of what this episode was, as opposed to maybe episode 4 or 5. Maybe you can give me an adventure of the week, break up the pace a little bit, give us a little bit of a lighthearted thing like they did with The Village in the first season, where he met the lady and Grogu was kicking it with the kids and all that. And he was about to leave him behind. I thought that was like a nice kind of breath of fresh air before we got into all the Moff Gideon stuff in the latter half. So I liked how they kind of do that in the middle. I think just for that first episode, it was a little bit jarring for me. But I did love the Crate Dragon episode last season, and now it's kind of similar to this. But for some reason, I just like that episode more. I was rewatching it recently too, and I just love that episode with the Crate Dragon. It's fucking kick ass.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm totally on the same boat with you too. It's because it's kind of like, I think that's what we talked about, I think last week, about like how they picked it up, some of it up in Book of Boba. They really should have just left it to be this here. So we kind of have that. We're kind of more like, there's more story to be told there. There's for sure there. And I feel like for a lot of people who hasn't watched the Book of Boba Fett and really only watched The Mandalorian throughout each season, it kind of leaves so many to be confused. And also, people who watched the show already, as the both of them, they kind of feel to have that, like, kind of have that same feeling too, but not as much compared to somebody who hasn't watched anything at all since season 2. Because it feels like there's something like. So
missing for sure.
Like there's something like missing there, like within the storytelling. You're just like,
flip out of the ship. What?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like,
and it also leads to that too. I'm like, because like for me, like I wouldn't have known like he had 2 years of training unless it was told to us by the creators.
That's true too. Even though we watched Book of Boba Fett, that's actually true. And we figured it'd have been at least some amount of time, but we just didn't know 2 years.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, something like that. If anybody has to tell you something like that within like for you to get like a hold of like the story being told, that's kind of some troublesome right there. That's very troubling for many.
You know how they could fix that for many
people?
Very simply, just bring back the opening crawl. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, they could.
Mandalorian season 3. In the events of the aftermath of Din Djarin removing his helmet, that's all you had to do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all you had to. You could do that for every Star Wars project. You could fill in the gap. That's your excuse. And we want it as fans. You literally have a fucking excuse to do exposition at the beginning of everything you guys do. And you said, no, it's only for the Skywalker saga.
It's like
What are you talking about? That's a Star Wars trademark that literally gives you a cheat code to give exposition.
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness couldn't do that for fucking WandaVision, right? You can do that shit for Star Wars all day long.
I think that's what it gets kind of. It's very something I would rather have that because it also creates incentive of like if people would go through that and you're like, oh shit, all that happened in Book of Boba.
Yeah, because your buddy or your girlfriend or whatever could be like, or your boyfriend or whatever, your husband's like, yeah, if you would watch Book of Boba Fett, like I told you, you would have saw it. And you're like, oh shit, really? How much do we have to watch? One episode. Okay.
It's like, it's just like, and that's what it is. That's always told people like, if you're like the book, I tell them straight, I'm like, Book of Boba Fett, not good as an overall series. But if you want to get caught up with the Mandalorian, like the Mandalorian stuff, watch with like only 2 to 3 episodes, really.
Like you could watch the last 2, just that and the finale, just because that was actually really. I will say the Book of Boba Fett finale was pretty good. Honestly, there was a few disappointing elements to it. Like there was a few things they could have did better, but for me, it was at least a good solid end to it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where I was like, I was having a good time. It just did not. It just give me some more Fennec Shand and things like that. But that was. I've seen worse finales than Book of Boba. But it was just that middle.
She-Hulk.
God damn. Yeah. Even I like. That was a thing for me, and we said that too for anyone that didn't watch, and for those that did. I was actually enjoying the show for the most part, other than maybe an episode or two. That finale really let me down. I was actually having a good time overall, and that was really letting me down because I was like, damn, you could have tied up some shit here. You could have really brought this thing home. I think you could have even turned around some of the MCU fans a little bit. Like, I don't mind She-Hulk. We could have did better, but you know what? I'm willing to see her again. A lot of motherfuckers are kind of like, hey, man, I don't even need to see her again, I don't need to see any of this shit again,
I'm
even
cool
you
with
said,
that.
I don't even need season 2. Just throw her in the MCU.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want at the end of your show. Book of Boba, even, we said, I prefer you not to, but we'd probably watch it, right? I don't think we'd be like, nope, I refuse. Obi-Wan, I'll watch it. Season 2, I don't think we need one, but I'll watch it. But
I don't. Yeah.
She-Hulk, even I'd be like,
Honestly, with She-Hulk,
I don't know.
It depends on what it is. I think because last
the vision would have to, the vibe would have to change pretty significantly. I think make it a comedy still, but you'd have to change up the vibe a little bit.
Like just to wrap up this thoughts of the before we go back to Star Wars, like with She-Hulk, I would just I only watch only a certain amount, and even then I watch a teaser about it, and if I feel like if I'm not 100% on boat, I'll just wait till the season finale and be like, okay, I'll just watch that. Or unless Daredevil shows up again, I might just watch that episode. That's
Born
it.
again.
Yeah, and that would be it. But that's the only time. That would be the only time.
I feel you on that one, man. But us getting back on track here, like I said, Phantom Frequency show. The tangents. You got to love it, y'all. It's a trademark of the show. But getting into the recap portion of The Mandalorians. but no, we pick back up with Mando, man. He's over here, and they're making their way back to the homeworld of Mandalore, man. But before they do, they got to go check out Pelimoto or whatever the hell her name is over there in Tatooine. Good old Tatooine, baby. We got to go pay a visit because he's trying to bring IG-11 back to life, which I think's a little unnecessary in the overall scheme of things. I kind of like the sacrifice and the characters moving on. But anyway, but he needs that part. He's trying to get that part, and he's like, hey, I know you Jawa motherfuckers are always stealing shit. Y'all always got the shit. Where's the part at? Hook your boy up right here. She's like, well, they ain't got the part, bro. But I can get you a droid that can get you over there so you can actually go through Mandalore. I got you, bro. Check it out.
Dumpster fire.
R5 right here, baby. New Hope reference for those of you that don't know. He was the original droid that blew up when Luke was actually picking out his droids in New Hope, where he ended up getting R2. Same exact droid.
So really, that's a good throwback. I totally slipped past my mind, dude. That's good.
I didn't pick that up to my second time watching the episode. I was like, wait a minute. And I looked up. I was like, R5, right? And I'm like, yep, that's him. So,
okay. That's what's up then. I I only watched it once. I was gonna watch it again with my pops sometime later on this week, but I didn't know that was the same droid from the
Yeah, man.
That's what.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll see. It's freaking R5, man. But yeah, and I love how they're just able to work in those Easter eggs, man, so naturally in the Mandalorian. Some of the best fan service I feel out of most franchises right now. But yeah, other than Scream 6, get it up. That's a topic for another day. But we're getting into the Mando here, and then she's like, "Well, I got this R5 droid for you, bro. Hook him up, get him in there. I got you, half the price, man. Probably ain't even worth a quarter of the price, really." So she's still coming up on Mando, you know. Pelimoto, baby, she hustling out here. Out here. It's like she lives in California, you know what I mean? It's like shit's expensive out here. You got to be hustling. But anyway. But yeah, so then you got good old Grogu and Mando. They get back in the ship, man, and I absolutely love the modern ship. I love how they brought back some prequel flavor because that was one of my favorite things about the prequels were the spaceships, actually. As a kid, even. I love the designs of the ships, and I loved how they brought back that prequel era ship, and you got Grogu looking at all the fireworks and everything because the Jawas and all them were having some kind of celebration on Tatooine, and I think this is the first time we ever seen anything quite like this on Tatooine, so that was actually kind of cool to see them having like a 4th of July type of celebration and whatnot, so that was kind of fun. Yeah. And then, Mando takes off, and now they're going to be charting the sky, going through hyperspace, looking for Mandalore. And as Mando's over there taking a nap real quick, getting ready for the big trip, the big journey over there to Mandalore to get into the Great Mines, so that way he can redeem himself, as we all know. Grogu looks up into hyperspace and notices some creatures floating in space that are way larger than the ship, as you see later on in this point of view shot where it makes them look almost microscopic. Those are actually space whales that come from Star Wars Rebels.
I thought it was in the last episode, though, wasn't it? The last episode?
Was that the last episode? I thought it was this
Yeah.
Did I confuse it?
It was in that. Yeah, you got to mix up. But for sure,
shit,
those are that's the same fact, though. Yeah, because it does show up in Rebels as well.
Yeah, that is true. But anyways, my bad, y'all. So then they make their way to Mandalore, and as they're doing so, before Mando ends up, he actually ends up telling Grogu about how to navigate the star systems on the radars and everything, and shows him the controls on the ship and everything like that. And he's like, well, this is where, as they start getting closer to Mandalore, he's like, this is where Mandalore is, and that's where our people come from. I've never been there, as we all knew. He's a foundling, of course, and he was also pointing out the moon that he grew up on that was really close to the original home world of Mandalore back in the day before all the crazy shit went down, and they ended up leaving that moon, as we know, and becoming the kind of cultish group that they have become, or cultish clan, if you will, that they have become. And then, Grogu's taking in all this information, and I love the way that they ended up working this into the episode later to actually give context for why Grogu would know how to navigate that way and use the autopilot of the astromech droid. So love the way they're able to work that in so seamlessly in here. A little bit of foreshadowing without even being very heavy-handed. So another great bit of writing on Jon Favreau's part. And now they're making their way to Mandalore, and as they start getting closer and make their way through the stratosphere and into the atmosphere and things of that nature, Grogu's like, oh, shit, man, this looks scary as fuck, bro. And he's like, I know it looks scary. Relax. I got you, bro. Don't worry. You're going to be a Mandalorian. You can't be getting scared of shit. So come on, let's go. And then they end up landing on Mandalore, and I was just like a freaking kid in a candy store watching like Empire for the first time and shit. Like, yo, this shit is tight. We're on fucking Mandalore right now. First time in live action, and it looks fucked up. Last time I remember seeing it was the Sabine Wren episodes with her and her mom going against those guys working for the Empire in Star Wars Rebels seasons 2 or 3, I believe. So it's been a minute since we've seen Mandalore, and I love the way it is brought to screen. And I'm pretty sure they use the volume for this stuff right here, and it does not look like it whatsoever. It looked really fucking good. The effects, I wish I had more shots here, but the effects looked phenomenal in this portion of the episode, and it really looked like they were on some other fucking planet. So the way they used the sets or the volume, however they pulled it off, phenomenal stuff. Really love that. And Grogu, man, like I said in this episode, he's like Shaggy and Scooby, like zoinks.
Yeah,
like,
it looks like that
out there.
It looks like that in the
Roast?
photo, dude. Yeah, he looks all scared, dude.
Roast? Rare. Like, he's like, I ain't going out there. What the fuck? And the man's like, all right, you stay here then, you scaredy cat. I'll go down there and bathe in the water real quick.
And it was funny too, because like before that, like before he went out, he was even having like some beef with the droid, because the droid was even scared.
The droid was supposed to go. Yeah, he's like, hey, bro, go check that shit out, dog.
He was like, nah, fuck that. He's like, what the hell? He's like, no, dude, what the? I paid for you.
Yeah. Oh, bitch, you my property now. Get your ass out there.
He's
He
like,
ends up just putting him down there. He's like, fuck, man.
he's like, you gotta change it. Like, and it makes sense too, because like that was a whole thing as well. Because like these said, like the air quality over there was just gone. It was just bad.
Yeah, that it was poisoned and you couldn't breathe the atmosphere. It reminded me of Godzilla from 2014.
Oh, really?
Where they had that plot point where Bryan Cranston's character, he worked at this facility in Tokyo where everything went down, and then Godzilla came up and his wife died at the facility they were working at. And they said that there was radiation in the air, and he couldn't go back to see what happened because he wanted to see what actually went down and how his wife died. And he ended up going back years later and realized that the air wasn't poisoned, and it was all a conspiracy to cover up the Godzilla stuff gone wrong from experiments and whatnot. So I like the way that this kind of had a very similar vibe to that, where he's like, "Oh shit, the air ain't bad out here. Oh damn,
It's like, what the hell is this, dude?
oh shit, okay." He's like, all right, this ain't too bad, but Grogu, you stay here. You don't need to go. I'm gonna go do this thing. And he's all getting scared and shit, and he's like, all right, fine. So then as they're making their way, as he's making his way through the caves and whatnot, Mandalorian gets his way, a.k.a. Din Djarin makes his way down there. And as he's doing it, he ends up, or Grogu goes with him, actually. And then as they make their way down there, he's getting over there and makes his way to the mines of Mandalore, which was so fucking cool to see that come to fruition and whatnot, and get to see everything going on there. And as he walks into the water and everything, you get the epic music playing and all that shit, and then he gets yoinked, sucked down there, and Grogu's like, oh, fuck, what the hell's going on here? And then freaking Mando's trying his best to get out of there, but he's fucked at this point. And even I was wondering, like, what the hell's down there, I was like, this has some straight up Empire vibes with the monster coming up out of the freaking them going into the damn cave thinking it was a thing in the planet, but it was actually a big ass worm, which was funny to me. And then this one was like, oh shit, Mando's underwater now. So then Grogu's like, oh fuck, man, I gotta go get reinforcements here. And that was when I was thinking too, like, ooh, is he gonna go get Bo-Katan? And then I was like, hell yes, he's gonna get Bo-Katan.
Oh wait,
as he's making his way out of there.
Oh wait, are you talking about like when he got when he was doing the ritual and stuff like that, or when he was
not the
fighting?
Ritual, but yeah, when he was doing the thing, when he was gonna go down there, he got sucked into the thing, and then after that, Grogu was like, "Oh shit, where's he at, man? Like, what am I gonna do now?" And then he's like, "Well, we got to rescue him." So he goes back to the ship, and then as they're back at the ship and whatnot, he tells the droid, he's like, "All right, well, I got to get reinforcements somehow." So he's like, "Go there," and he points on the map.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. That weird droid, that little weird looking thing. Oh,
Yeah.
I know you're talking about like those people that Mando was fighting like before they went ended up going down there.
Yeah.
I
actually skipped over that part. Yeah. So
Oh,
so he ended up fighting
okay.
those dudes, and then Grogu was like, "Oh shit, damn, this is crazy." And then he's fighting the dudes, beat up the cavemen dudes.
And then like that's when he went down there and
Then
ran
he went
into
down
that,
there, and
that
then he got
robot
pulled
thing.
into the ocean.
No,
And-
I thought the ocean thing was towards like the end. Like the end and stuff like that, because
that
wasn't there
was
like that
towards the
rule?
end. Shit.
Yeah, because that's because Bo-Katan was already
Keep
there.
mixing up everything.
Yeah, no, it's all cool. It's all cool.
I was like,
but that's what
everything. So where am I at?
it's because like because at that point, because when he fights those weird looking creatures, that's when he kind of got baby Grogu back, and then that's when they seen like the city. Like the ruins of pretty much of one of the huge cities
where
of
Bo-Katan
Mandalore.
used to live at.
Yeah, where
right.
Bo-Katan used to be. And then that's when him and baby Grogu went down there. And then he just walked out there just like nonchalantly. I didn't see him have the jetpack, and so when he actually used it, I was like, oh fuck. He has some backup there, and baby Grogu, his little thing, that flies now or floats. I was like, oh shit, okay. And then that's when they go down there and
We all float down here.
Is that the clown guy?
Yep. You all float down here.
But that's like and then like from there, that's when they travel a little bit more towards within the mines of Mandalore, right? And then that's when they run into that robot looking thing. That funky
the freaky ass robot dude. That's what it was. I'm sorry, I totally mixed it up. I don't know how I did that.
It's all cool.
They ran into that robot thing, which looked fucking cool as hell, dude.
Dude, he
love the
looks
design of that.
terrifying.
Exactly. I was like, see, fucking Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, man. Like, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is that good classic Star Wars stuff where this ain't no silly
joke.
shit. We're not doing no prequel shit like that. Like, this is some scary shit right here for real, like freaky stuff. And he's like torturing Mando pretty much, like, and he's like, oh shit, ow. And then he puts him up in that weird thing, and then the thing's like sucking his blood out of him or something, like some weird parasite.
Yeah, it was like
machine thing.
It was something. Like, it was such a weird.
It was some
thing.
Jigsaw shit, bro. I was like, God damn, what's going on right here? Riddler came from Batman and hopped him in the Mandalorian, bro.
It was straight up like that because, like, even the way how he captured Mando too, he's seen all those dead Mandalorian skulls
helmets,
and stuff,
yeah,
and helmets
he was all
and stuff
distracted,
like that.
and I'm like, bro, you better pay attention.
And he got snapped, and that's when he hit that torture, and he was getting like, that's when he told Baby Grogu, because Baby Grogu was kind of sneaking in the background, and then that's when he was telling Baby Grogu, get Bo-Katan, because I'm fucked. I can't do shit. If you don't get her, I'm dead.
I'm fucked, bro.
I'm dead. I can't do anything about that. But that's when we seen the little Baby Grogu doing his thing.
Back up. Yeah. He's making his journey back up the thing, floats back up out of the mines of old Mandalore capital or whatever. And then as he's making his way through the tunnels again, he sees the weird glowy eye creatures. He's like, fuck, I hate those things. And as he's making his way through, he runs into the caveman dude, and I'm like, all right, here we go, Grogu. Show him what you got, bro. And then he's all, and then I kind of wish they didn't show it in the trailer now. In retrospect, 'cause I thought this wouldn't come this early, but it's all good. It just would be cool to see him do that as a surprise for the first time.
That would have been dope.
Throws dude like flying way the hell out of there, and then Grogu's like, man, don't be fucking with me, bro. And then
he's been
training
makes his
way.
Luke.
Yeah, bro. Luke don't be playing around, man. He went through Jabba's palace, fucking up people, man. So
dude, that's the Master Force user right there.
Hell yeah. Luke in his prime, baby.
Yeah.
So you get Grogu making his way back to the ship, and then he tells R5's little scaredy cat ass, he's like, hey, take me to Bo-Katan, bro, right there.
It's like, I don't know how, I can't speak yet, but I can point. You there, bro. Go over there. That's where we're heading to.
And Droid's like, all right, fuck it. And then they take him down over there, and that's when we switch on over to my girl, Bo-Katan Kryze, and she's like, oh, hell nah. Why you motherfuckers pulling up in front of my spot? Hell nah. So she comes out all ready to go, like, hey, I thought I told your ass to bounce, dog.
To stay back. And the way she did it, I'm like, dude, she's ready to body Mando. That was,
she's like, give me that goddamn sword, bitch. You come back here one more time.
It's like, you're coming back bothering me. He's like, you know what? If you can't do it, then I'm just going to fight you for it and then really take that sword from you. And then do what I got to do.
Homie, what's she doing now? And then the cockpit opens, and it's just Grogu there. And she's like, oh, what? All right, what are you doing here, little guy? And then she figures out, pretty much kind of reads between the lines, seeing that he's in trouble and whatnot.
Yeah,
and she's like, all right, fine. All right, we'll go rescue your boy. So they go back to Mandalore itself proper. And as Bo-Katan leads the way back into the ruins and whatnot, and Grogu's scared as shit again, like, fuck, man, I hate being in here. And she's like, hey, bro, you need to lead me to where the hell he's at if you want me to save him. I don't know where he's at, so stop being a pussy. No, I'm kidding, but stop being scared, man. And he's like, all right.
Kind of giving him the Mandalorian's lesson right there.
She's right. You got to step up, but it's hard. But you got to step up, Grogu. It's your time.
You have to. And she's awesome, and it's cool too, because like since she's like way back to the Clone Wars, she gave him like a little insight of like how it was.
Yes,
and then, like if you watch the TV show and all that, and how she mentioned like she fought along the Jedi too.
Yep.
Like
all the time, dude.
Yeah, and then like you kind of, if you watch like the Clone Wars within the animation series, you're like, oh shit, it's kind of badass to have like the little connections like that here and there.
And we have the context, me and you as fans that have seen it, but for those that don't, they're not doing like the Book of Boba Fett issue. You don't have to see it. You know what I'm saying? You get the sense of how Katie Sackhoff plays it, and since if you've seen season 2, you know what she's capable of. If you see this, then you hear why she's as great as she was. The Armorer also talked about how she was a great leader of a clan. I like the way they're able to use exposition in the right way, and they sprinkle it in through not just her actions, but sometimes through characters talking or through her explaining the culture as she would to a young child as they're making their way through it. You know what I mean? So all parents and all parental figures or mentor figures or things like that, as you make their way to different areas and things that they know, they'll be like, yeah, I used to grow up here, do things here, and this is what it was like back in the day. So it's very natural and organic to the conversation and dialogue between the characters. And I think it's really cool the way that they did that with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan from their different perspectives of their histories with the Mandalorian culture. So I love the way that they just informed that in the writing so well. So yeah, good shit right there, man. Love the way you pointed that out for sure. And then they finally make their way through the caves. They float back down into the old ruins of Mandalore, and she's like, this is it, man. all that nostalgia probably hitting her all at once, man. Back in the days with her and Satine, and I love the way that like knowing the Clone Wars design, they just did such a great job bringing it to life and making it look like it's like thousands of years old, even though, or it had been like that for thousands of years, but it's only been like probably like maybe a couple decades or something like that. So I love the way they're able to visualize that on screen and really make it look fully lived in, whether it's the volume or whatever the hell they used. Excellent effects in this episode, I gotta say, all around. But yeah, so then they make their way down there, and then she's like, all right, well, this is this is the spot. But before she gets there, the cavemen show up, I think, again, right?
Oh, within that, when she's talking to him, yeah, because like she didn't. They run into them, but she had the jump on him.
Yeah,
because like she was on
pretty
like
much fucked him up.
yeah, because like they were above her, and she like you kind of see like a little glimpse of the shadow. She's like she pushed Grogu away. He's like I'm gonna fuck shit up right now. She pushed him aside, shot the ground underneath him. Yep. He collapsed in,
made him fall down, and then she's like, "Let's go, motherfucker."
Yeah, and she was fucking him up, dude.
I was like, "Yes."
She was
that Bo-Katan action, man. And Katie Sackhoff, with her experience playing these type of roles in live action between Battlestar Galactica and the third or fourth installment of Riddick, she's already has great physicality on screen. So I love the way that she was able to bring that forth here, man. Didn't miss a beat, and so then from there they make their way through the caves more, and then as they get to the spot where the creepy dude's at, then she's trying to make her way to get rescue Mando, if you will. But then she does fuck up dude pretty good when she pulls out her
dude, that looks badass, dude.
I love it, man. Her wielding the freaking darksaber. She
and
gets
has that
she's using her shield.
Oh god,
Mando needs to get that upgrade. Her and Bo-Katan, him and Bo-Katan got to get on the same terms, because he's got to get himself some of that tech right there.
To be honest, I would have minded that thing that her having to save the darksaber and the shield. I wouldn't mind having that being her own thing.
Like
I would rather have
to take over as
like
leader of Mandalore, rightfully so. Or?
With how they like have like she has like she's wielding it like that way, right? She has that sword and shield. I'd rather have like Mando kind of be like him mastering the sword himself and just be like the ultimate weapon. Like that's the greatest offense there is. Him just using the sword. He doesn't have to rely on the shield or anything like that.
I feel you.
Because
it would be pretty tight. It would be pretty tight.
No, dude, that shot's pretty nice.
One of the coolest shots in the freaking episode. She was fucking up that weird, creepy Jigsaw dude, and then he's like, "Haha, bitch, you think you won, huh?" He detaches himself like it's the freaking Thing from 1982.
God, this that's motherfucker, a creepy looking thing, bro.
I'm telling you, man, that was a Thing reference. I'm telling you. And then he makes his way over to the big ass kaiju Gundam shit over there, and then and then it's over like Pacific Rim going up in here. She's like, "Oh shit!" And then she's fighting that thing, and then she ends up beating its ass, and then she gets Mandalorian free from all the torture device thing, and she beats his ass like it ain't nobody's business. So I just love the way that Bo-Katan's such a badass. I want her and Din to get down this season. I want to see it. I want that all-out fight for the darksaber. I think that's what they're building to.
I feel like Bo-Katan might take the cake unless I think so. Mando is doing the training, because dude, she had so many years within like the decades of just like war, like of the Clone Wars, and like also fighting like enemies as well, like
in the Empire era as well.
Yeah, like dealing with that. She actually
up until the Purge, right?
Pretty much up until the Purge, yeah. And like she even came across some Sith at like some point too with Maul and everybody there, dude. Like she has
Savage Press,
yeah, like
Savage Adventurous.
Yeah, and she that's why I think it's gonna be hard for Mando just like to really pull through, because like that's a lot of great experience right there.
That's one interesting point here before we pretty much end off the Mandalorian conversation, because there's not too much more to get into after this point of the episode here.
Besides the ritual stuff, yeah,
that's pretty much it. Do you think she should get the darksaber by the end of the season? Do you think that makes more sense for her to end up leading the charge? Or do you think from the setup of the trailer of him talking to those other Mandalorians, talking about we're all scattered across the galaxy and we need to pull together and do this shit, do you think that's him just kind of leading a group against Bo-Katan for that kind of big battle we're going towards? Or do you think Din's going to get the sword, he's going to lead Mandalorians, and they're going to unite and get this whole thing going against Thrawn and do a whole crazy thing? Or do you think it's Bo-Katan? For me personally, I think it should be Bo-Katan.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because like Bo-Katan, she deserves it more than anybody. Like
I think it makes more sense, man. I think Din could just be like that right hand dude that's like no one fucks with him either, but he's just not the leader. I just don't think he has that that in him necessarily don't want to be leading people and doing the whole political side of things, where that's all she knows. That's what she was in. That's her thing. So to me, it would make more sense that way. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's like the proper way for them to do it, because if they wanted, like, let's say, like, we'll talk future seasons. Let's say if he was like the leader of the with the Mandalorians and everything, I feel like that kind of, like, the storytelling would be cool, but the whole story of it is having an adventure between a Mandalorian and baby Grogu,
And just making Grogu into a Mandalorian. I think that's kind of the whole vibe. I feel like it's just them having an adventure together. It's almost like that Ellie and Joel type thing. Like, it's just about their journey together and where life takes them together, and the struggles and tribulations they go through between each other and their relationship, and the hardships they have to face out there. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I just don't see him as this like leader of the people type character. I don't know.
I don't see that either. It kind of feels like the same thing with Boba Fett, with how he was supposed to step into that role. I couldn't see it before, like when we seen the trailers and all that, or even like with the post credit of season 2 of The Mandalorian. I couldn't see it, so I was kind of hoping they were going to give us more story about him being fit for that role, but they never did. So that's why I was like, I kind of for Mando, I would rather not have that be on the table for him. I'd rather have Bo-Katan do it. She's been there for the longest time. She's been there since the Great Purge. All of that, all of that darkness right there, and like for her to really rebuild the Mandalorians as a whole. I mean, damn, I would rather have that than having Mando there, pretty much. So that's where I'm at. But it was cool seeing the ritual too at the end. You kind of like see that tradition there. I think that was a little nice touch.
Leading into him actually going into the mines of Mandalore, and her being like, "All right, bro, let me show you where the mines are at. You're all hyped up on this shit. Ain't nothing going on, but let's go." And she's all sarcastic as shit. This is where the mines were, and the great creatures, and da 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 da. All right, do your shit, bro. Come on.
Like, go take a bath and then come back. We got to get the hell out of here. We don't want your armor to rest.
Hurry up, bro. I'm tired of being down here anyways. It's just bringing me back to shit. Let's go.
To darkness.
He's all making this whole epic moment, and then yoink, he gets pulled under the ocean, and then they're like, "Oh shit,
dude,
what was that?"
He got pulled down quick. I thought he was gonna be like not that far along when Bo-Katan went down there.
Not with this creature, bro.
I thought it was like I thought it was a Darksaber weighing him down. I'm like, I don't think that's the case. He just like sunk right in there like a rock. Like
I knew from the way he got sucked in. I was like, oh, here we go. Here's a mythical creature. And the mythical creature is none other than the Mythosaur, bro, from freaking Star Wars Legends, of Star Wars lore, of
that's
the great
a huge thing.
Freaking Boba Fett. It's signet right there, pretty much.
Yeah, he technically wrote that. He technically wrote it, didn't he?
Yeah,
he wrote it. I wonder if they're gonna have Din actually write it.
That'd be freaking crazy, bro.
Like,
but yeah, man, they have the insignia right there, the freaking Mythosaur, bro, coming to life, the whole mythical creature, and the effects were really great, man. Like I said, I keep harping on that, but I really, really love the special effects in this episode. I think they really went above and beyond there at Lucasfilm, man. I think they did a great job on that. And, you get the whole thing, and then, they finally get him free and all that stuff, man. And that pretty much...
That pretty much wraps it up.
Wraps it up right there, man. So we'll see what he's going to be getting into with episode 3. I love how they don't have the preview, so you kind of get to, like, wet your appetite.
I like
you never
that.
Really, you know what I mean? So it kind of like, no one's spoiled. You kind of have to go and wait till each week. They kind of do a little preview sometimes, like a little 30-second TV spot or something, but they generally don't drop, like, a really big, lengthy preview, so I like that. So, but yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything for
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2. Another freaking great episode of this series as a whole. Definitely one of my favorite Star Wars projects of all time. Always remains to be. And even with episodes like the last week that I thought was like a solid 7.5, just a good, decent episode of television is still much better than certain things we've gotten in Star Wars lore, and I think better than most episodes of television in general, at least from the shows I have seen in my 28 years, going on 29 years of life here. So, what are you going to give this one out of 10, my friend?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I gave last week's episode.
Yeah,
I would say like
5 last week.
I would go with a 7 for last week. It's so good. It was so great, but I think it was, for me, it was kind of that adjustment that was kind of like, I wish it was longer. and all that stuff. And also, that what we talked about earlier about like jumping straight into like, with all the events after Book of Boba Fett and all that. It'll be a solid 7 for episode 1. Episode 2, I'll jump up to a 7.5 for sure. It's going. It made a big improvement for, like, over last episode. Like, not like a huge one, but like a 0.5. Right now I'm like a 7.5 with the show. I know it's just trying to like get more into detail.
Get the
with
wheels
the story.
rolling. Set up the conflict between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, of course. But yeah, man, I'm pretty much right there with you, man. Just for the extra Star Wars lore, and like y'all know, for those that have been with us before covering the Mandalorian last season and this season, of course, know that this is one of my favorite corners of the Star Wars universe. Other than Jedi's, I love the Mandalorian culture. Those are the two aspects of Star Wars I love the most. So since we got to dig all deep into that one, I'm going to bump it up just a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a straight up 7.75. I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's just another great episode. Bo-Katan just continuously is becoming one of the most interesting characters in Star Wars in a long, long time. And just love what Katie Sackhoff is doing with the character. I love the way they're writing the character. And give me 1 second here. I want to pull up the director of this episode because I'm not familiar with. I believe it was a woman. Let me pull it up here. I wasn't familiar with her work before, but I just wanted to shout her out because she did a very, very good job on this episode, and I'm going to be very interested to see if she does any others, but also if she ends up doing any other big directing type things of this nature, because this was a really, really well done episode, man. Just the overall direction and vibe of this, I thought was just really well done.
That was pretty neat.
Where's IMDb at? You sons of.
You sons of whoas.
You sons of beaches.
Oh, my
beaches.
God.
All right, here we go. Hold on. Freaking, they got Grogu freaking things popping up here on the damn page. Like,
oh, yeah.
Grogu blinking in the corner, looking up at the stuff when you're searching it in Google. I'm telling you, man, the marketing on this thing is crazy.
Honestly, Baby Grogu is like, it's
a cash cow, baby.
Thing.
It's a cash cow.
Number one cash out cow. Because, like, bro, I think just the merchandise themselves. I remember at Disneyland, they have a bunch of like Baby Grogu stuff.
Oh shit!
Online.
I'm surprised they don't have a store just for him over there.
They pretty much do. I think this like, it's so much oversaturation of it. That's why I was like, fuck.
Like merchandising, yeah. I love Baby Grogu. I love it though. Like it's just fun, man. I just dig it. It reminds me of like when Pikachu was out back in the early 2000s, late 90s. You know, it reminds me.
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminds me of right now.
What's it called? Okay, so yeah, I got it pulled up. Her name is Rachel Morrison. And she hasn't worked on anything I've seen other than Black Panther and the movie Dope from 2015, actually. Which is actually makes a lot of sense because she probably got referred to this from Rick Famuyiwa, who was the director of the film Dope in 2015, but also has directed several episodes of The Mandalorian and even came out on stage with them to present the first episode that of the new season at the event they did in LA. So that's pretty cool. So I think he probably ended up referring her. But yeah, she's more of like a cinematographer beforehand. So this is one of her first directing gigs, I believe. Yeah. So she directed a few episodes of some other television shows in the past. But yeah, she's been a cinematographer on like Dope, Mudbound. It was this period piece that came out on Netflix a few years ago. And she was also the DP, director of photography, as they call it, on Black Panther from 2018. So she's shot some really good stuff. Because Black Panther from 2018, other than some spotty CGI, which is not her fault, it's really good cinematography overall in Black Panther 1. So no wonder they picked her for this. She did a phenomenal job, man. So great episode of Mandalorian. We want to hear from y'all. Make sure you drop your comments down below. We really love discussing these episodes. Whether you loved it, hate it, fall somewhere in between. We just love getting into all the nitty-gritty details of Star Wars. If you saw the episode of the Book of Boba Fett that did set up everything to lead into Season 3 here, do you think they did a disservice not including it in the actual Season 3? Or do you think it was fine the way it is and people just need to catch up and stop bitching about it? You let us know what you thought about it down below in the comments. And this is always just one of the segments of our longer form podcast, the Phantom Frequency Show. Episode 26 so far. We're getting close to our first 30 episodes, so make sure you go check it out on the podcast feed, hit the download buttons and all that. Hitting our first 1,000 downloads on the feed. Got a big milestone coming up, so join us today and be a part of that success. And much love to each and every one of you for listening and watching, as always.